Yo, welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. I'll never get used to that name. Last time we started the game, we went... Sorry. We went to a little deserted, or not deserted, but a little rundown town because our mentor needed to meet with one of the dissidents, I think they called them. One of the people from the resistance. And they had some sort of argument. We don't know what they're talking about. Look at his fucking face. Yeah, his name was Flintheart McCoy. And then, in the middle of the night, he had an argument with his daughter Celeste. And then she ran off. We ran off after her. And then when we came back, he was dead. So we, like the player, did see who killed him. It was like a noble guy. But the characters don't know. We only saw that, I guess, because case one. They want to make it easy, so. Wait, I can present evidence here? What happens if I... Okay, no, I can't. It just doesn't do anything. Okay. Why is that button even here? Okay. Yeah. Now we're in the trial. We were defending Celeste. She was cheerful and sweet, and also a little intimidating. Yeah, let's go. It still hadn't sunk in yet. I was standing in a real courtroom. I only ever acted as Mr. Moore's assistant. Now I was front and center at the defense table. Are you okay? Can you stand here? Don't you have to be in, like, the defendant's, No, I guess that makes sense. You stand next to your... Yeah, never mind. I guess I'm just used to... In Ace Attorney, the defendant usually is, like, at their own... like, has their own seat at the courtroom. But I guess in real life... The defendant is usually next to their lawyer, so I guess it makes sense. Are you okay? Yes, of course. Maybe if I kept saying that, it would end up being true. The woman from the dungeons was also here. She must have been the prosecutor for Celeste's trial. I think I said this last time, but her outfit really reminds me of Violet, female Violet from Fire Emblem. No wonder she was able to order around the commander like that. I could feel her piercing glare burrowing into me. Why was she looking at me like that? Was she trying to intimidate me? Because it was definitely working. Oh, okay. Court design session for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Man, the aura difference between this judge and the Ace Attorney judge, it's immeasurable. Age 80. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Oh, the defense is also ready, Your Honor. Very well. Prosecutor Stalewin, could you please list the charges? The defendant is Celeste McCoy, a mercenary by trade and a registered mage. She is charged with second-degree murder and negligent misuse of the arcane arts. The crime occurred within the McCoy Tavern, a local inn that was shut down years ago. Those who live nearby reported hearing a loud argument coming from within the building around 1 a.m. Okay. What evidence do I have right now? Okay, only that. Spells? What does that mean? Can I cast spells? At 1:08 a.m., a carriage driver entered the tavern to investigate the disturbance. Okay, I guess my first question would be, how do you know the exact precise time like this? Does the driver remember exactly it was 1:08 a.m.? That seems a bit suspicious. It's not like you have camera recordings, right? It was there that he found the victim, the defendant's sword impaled within his body. The Inquisition has provided an autopsy report and documentation for the sword. Okay, also... Okay, sure. Autopsy report. That at 1:12 a.m. after being stabbed from behind with a magical blade. Fatal wound shows a heavy trace of transmutation magic. Okay, doesn't this not fit at all with what you just said? You said the driver arrived at 1:08, but the victim died at 1:12? So the driver seems like the killer? Unless you're saying that he was stabbed earlier, but it took a while for him to die? Like he didn't die instantly? Stabbed from behind? Really? I feel like in the CG we saw, it definitely looked like he was stabbed from the front. Okay. Celeste's sword. The legend murder weapon. Okay, so that's definitely not the sword that was used. It's an ornately designed sword, but it has no magical properties. Okay. Can I see more information on... Or no, is that it? Okay, that's it. What was the defendant's relationship with the victim? I see that they share the same last name. The defendant is the victim's daughter, but not by blood. Okay, that explains why they look nothing alike. She was adopted into the family when she was an infant. Her birth parents are currently unknown. I see, what an unfortunate turn of events. To begin, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orm White to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Are you going to be the gumshoe? Witness, name and occupation. Name's Orm White. I'm a commander of the Arcane Inquisition. Commander, please testify about the details of the Inquisition's investigation. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Witness testimony. So is this going to be exactly like this, attorney? Like the cross-examination? We got a call late at night. Someone found a dead body inside the McCoy Tavern. When we arrived on the scene, we found Flintheart McCoy dead on the floor. The defendant's sword was still on his chest. Now that I think about it, how do you know, like, the exact time of death down to the minute? Like, he died at exactly 1:12 a.m.? Is that some magic you can use to, like, tell exactly the time of death? Because there's no way you can get it down to the minute with, like, real life autopsy. When we arrived on the scene, we found Flintheart McCoy dead on the floor. The defendant's sword was still in his chest. We have a bunch of witnesses who heard the victim and defendant in a loud argument before the body was called in. That argument must have turned ugly because the defendant killed the old man using her magic sword. The sword isn't magic! Haha! This was going to be difficult. The defendant's sword was the murder weapon. It was possible that the murderer used it to frame her. That must have meant that the crime was premeditated. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. How do I do that? Huh? Mr. Cuthbert? Where was I supposed to start again? I need to prove that Celeste was innocent, but they found her sword in the body. Tyrion, this is the part where you say something, right? The longer I stood there, the more I noticed that everyone staring at me. I could feel the case cracking. Each moment of silence was just another blow to my credibility. Sigh. I wanted to face Ruby tomorrow today, not her bumbling sidekick. Man, I'm sad that we didn't get like a Winston Payne character for case 1. Instead we seem to have like a... I feel like this girl's gonna come back for the future cases also. Your Honor, the defense clearly has nothing to say against the prosecution's overwhelming evidence. Yep, this whole thing's pretty open and shut. No, wait. I'm so sorry, Tyrion. I didn't do enough for Foray. Now she's... Mr. Mora, does this mean they're going to execute her? No, not again. Not again? What do you mean? Why is Chelsea going to watch that happen again? Did that happen to your parents or something? Tyrion! Her palm cracked across my face. I stumbled back and almost fell over. She had every right to be angry, but that wasn't what I saw on her face. I'm sorry, Celeste, Stop, just listen to me. You trained for this, right? You know what to do. I've never done this before. She cursed under her breath. She searched her mind for an answer. Then just treat it like something you have done before. Treat it like chess. I don't know, you're good at chess, right? So just treat this whole thing like you're playing chess. What? I don't know. Yesterday you were calm and you were focused. So just channel that feeling. Look at the pieces on the board or something like that. He made a lot of statements. Every statement that he made, every word that came out of his mouth, they were all just pieces on the board. And Matt wasn't won from the first move, unless we were playing against Celeste when we did win on the first move. It came from developing the pieces I had and taking every advantage that presented itself. I apologize, Your Honor. The defense is ready to begin the cross-examination. Seeing as this is your first trial, Mr. Cuthbert, I'll overlook it this one time. There we go. Thanks to God, that actually worked. I need to carefully examine every statement he made, line by line. The key to every cross-examination was identifying which statement contradicted the evidence in my notes. Yeah, I already got it, don't worry. Once I did that, I need to present the contradicting evidence. Okay, yeah. So we can press. Okay, but I don't think I need to press right now. I think the contradiction is just here, right? You said using her magic sword, but the sword is not magic. It's just a normal sword. Objection! Commander White, are you sure that the victim was killed using the defendant's sword? Yeah, it's pretty obvious from the crime scene. I think I'd have to disagree with you on that. If your testimony is true, the defendant's sword couldn't have been the murder weapon. What are you talking about, kid? The sword was inside his body. That may be, but take another look at the autopsy report. It says that the fatal wound contained traces of transmutation magic. You even testified that the sword was magical. So, what's your point? It's simple. Oh, death slam. How could a non-magical blade leave traces of magic in the wound? Okay, I mean, there is some assumptions here, because I'm just assuming that you couldn't use magic on a non-magical blade? Question mark? I'm kind of assuming some things about the magic system here, but sure. What? My client's sword may look unique, but it's entirely non-magical. It couldn't have left those traces of transmutation in the wound. It doesn't make a lick of sense. If the sword didn't kill him, then what was it in the body? There's only one reasonable explanation. The wound was created magically, and someone shoved the sword into the wound afterwards. Couldn't you tell that from the autopsy? And that girl's a mage. She could have easily whacked that old man using magic. Why would she murder the victim using a spell, only to then stab him with her sword? Didn't make it look like it wasn't her. She would just be incriminating herself. It was a double bluff. If anything, the series of events proves something else. Someone used magic to murder the victim, then pushed my client's sword into the wound to frame her.
Objection!
Ooh, that's a cool animation. Don't get ahead of yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. Your Honor, the defense is suggesting that another person used a sword to frame the defendant. But the defendant clearly cast a spell on the sword at the time of the murder. She cast a spell? Commander, testify as to how magic was used during the murder. What? Alright, I see where you're going with this. Isn't that sprite of him looking to the right also like exactly a Gumshoe sprite where he like looks off to the side? The sword itself ain't magical, but spells can still be cast on it. Okay, so it's what I said. The defendant over there, her spell compendium's got a spell called Mage Blade. She must have cast it on her sword before stabbing the old man. That spell's the reason why you found traces of magic on the body. What does that spell do? Please, explain. Mage Blade. For the duration of the spell, the edges of this object, usually a blade, become unnaturally sharp, making it more effective at slashing through tough material. While under the effect of the spell, the object emits a yellow, radiant glow. The target object must be no larger than a 5-foot cube. Okay, does the sword fit into a 5-foot cube? The spell compendium listed every spell a mage knew how to cast. It was a fundamental piece of evidence that proved which spell a mage could and couldn't use. Okay, could you lie on your spell compendium though? Celeste, do you have your spell compendium with you? No, my dad was the last person who had it. What? Why would Flintheart have her spell compendium? But he's right, I know how to cast Mage Blade. But actually the only spell I know. Really? I feel like if that's the only spell you knew, it would be kind of risky to go have hunting bears when you just have like a magically sharp sword. The bear could still fucking bite your hand off. I would like to add that we found traces of transmutation magic on the defendant's sword as well. As I'm sure the court knows, magical traces stay on objects for 48 hours after a spell is cast on them. Okay, that's good to know. 48 hours. Cell sword. Okay. It doesn't say how long the sword is here. Presumably it's shorter than 5 feet. Those 48 hours really tighten the timeline for cases like this. Because of that, crimes need to be investigated before all the magical traces disappear from the crime scene. Okay, I see. So this is the justification we're using for why these trials are happening on the day after the murder. Okay, sure. It's still kind of stupid, but it's at least a justification. It also gave the courts a perfect excuse to push these cases through the system as quickly as possible. Yeah, there we go. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Commander's testimony was a lot vaguer this time. He probably wasn't expecting to give a second testimony. Okay, so I'm going to need to press, right? Pressing his statements really helped in situations like this. Doing that might reveal new pieces of evidence that I could use against him. Okay, this might be controversial, but pressing statements is my least favorite part of Ace Attorney games. Sometimes you can... Yeah, okay. I just don't think this is a good mechanic, because if you're playing optimally, like, in every testimony, you should just press every statement before presenting your contradiction. Because there's no reason not to do it. There's like a few very rare cases where like you get punished if you press a wrong statement in the Ace Attorney games, but it's kind of uncommon. But otherwise, it just feels like kind of a... I don't know, I don't like this mechanic. Like, it just feels like it just kind of wastes time. I don't know. I get that it's like part of the lawyer fantasy, right? Like pressing the witness and like getting them to reveal some stuff that they didn't mean to say. But I don't like the way it's implemented. Okay, anyway. Should I just press everything? Probably this, right? Mage Blade. It's a transmutation spell that sharpens and empowers my sword. Wouldn't it be excessive for the defendant to use a spell like that on the victim? Yeah, it doesn't seem really necessary. He wasn't wearing any armor or protection at the time of his death. The victim and the defendant were in an intense argument. Perhaps she used the spell in a fit of rage. Perhaps he simply cast it out of a habit. What matters is that the sword undeniably has traces of transmutation magic on it. Okay, that's fair. Okay. Did I skip it by accident? I think I right-click. Hang on, let me just look again. Okay, no, never mind. Just looks weird, because I think there's like a frame where the... When we come back, there's like a frame where this cross-examination UI like appears and then disappears. Looks a bit weird. I guess let's press the first statement. Are you accusing my client of casting a spell and channeling it through her sword? There are a vast number of spells that operate like that. Spells from the School of Transmutation are almost exclusively channeled through an object. Your client clearly learned a spell that would aid in her work as a mercenary. Speaking of which... Okay. Why would she go to the trouble of doing that? Her sword alone would have been enough to murder a defenseless person. Mages are always looking for an excuse to throw their power around. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Okay, that doesn't seem like a very... Judge, please? Isn't that just your own personal bias, Commander? We don't need to understand why the defendant did what she did. The fact of the matter is that traces of magic were found on the body and the sword. Do you have any evidence of the contrary, Mr. Cuthbert? Yeah, you see the UI appears for like a frame before it's weird. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It's somewhat a little bit vague this time. Pressing statements might prove useful, she says, saying like this. Yep, I know. Yeah, you see, it did it again there. Yes. About that, spells only leave magical traces on the object they target, and those traces are only detectable for 48 hours. If my client cast Mage Blade, like you said, there shouldn't have been any magical traces on the wound. It would only be traces on the sword. Oh, yeah, I get it. We're gonna say that the reason the traces were there is because she killed the bear, right? That same day. So the traces would still remain from that. Also, wait, what's his point here? Were there traces on the wound? We always find random magical traces at crime scenes. We can't always explain each trace we detect. That sounds more like a failure on the Inquisition's part than anything else. Can we really trust that your knights examine the crime scene properly? You don't believe me? Take a look at this picture. Oh, okay. Why is the sword... Why is everything transparent? Excuse me? What's that? I can't even tell what I'm looking at. There's a broken vase here. Why is it all transparent? I'd seen pictures of dead bodies while studying Mr. Moore's past cases, but there was something unnerving about seeing someone I'd met yesterday. I carefully inspected the photo, taking great care to keep it out of Celeste's view. You can see it here plain as day. The sword has the highest concentration of transmutation traces. But why didn't those traces fully cover the weapon? Where? I don't understand. Are we saying that an object being transparent means that it has transmutation traces? Did the transmutation spell damage the sword somehow? I'm so confused. I bet you have Flintlock McCoy after he was murdered. It shows traces of transmutation magic that were on the sword. Why was this picture not brought to my attention, Orem? What would be the point of that? This entire case is open and shut. The prosecution seemed unnerved by something. Oh, the Edgeworth sprite. You can see it right in that photo. She stabbed him right through the chest using Mage Blade. Okay, I assume I'm supposed to present this here, but I don't understand why. Or this. Why is it transparent? Am I stupid? I can't even tell where the hilt of the blade is. Is this the hilt? If this is the hilt, then clearly it was stabbed in the front, not in the back. Let me look at the sword. This is... Stabbed him right through the chest. I just don't understand why this is like this is transparent. I mean, okay, I'm present this because okay, yeah, because it says he stabbed him in the chest, but here it says he was stabbed from behind. I'm sorry, Commander White, but you've shown us an even more glaring contradiction. Oh yeah? In your testimony, you said that my client stabbed the victim right through the chest. You can see it right here in that picture. So where's your contradiction? That's exactly the problem, Commander. Your picture undeniably shows that my client's sword impaled the victim from the front. But if that's really true, why does the autopsy say that he died from being stabbed in the back? Oh, what? Orm, you're supposed to submit everything you had to me. Why did you withhold this photo? There was no point. She's a mage. It couldn't have been anyone else. Murmurs rippled through the gallery. Even the judge shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Or justice system may have been corrupt, but they'd never get away with such a blatant error. Order in the court. Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this? Your Honor, this photo clearly shows my client's sword impaling him from the front. which means there's only one way for the autopsy to be true. The sword would have needed to be inserted into the wound after the victim had died. That's crazy. Then why would you lie to me, Commander White? Do you think my client impaled the victim hilt first with her sword? Aye. Or do you think she stabbed him through the chest, removed it, and then placed her sword in the body to frame herself? Well, that's... maybe. No, what happened here is obvious. The real murderer stuck the sword to the victim's wound to implicate my client. But they made a careless mistake and stuck the sword to the opposite side. The murderer is very, very dumb. You're actually pretty good at this. It appears I underestimated you. But you've still gone ahead of yourself. Is that so, Miss Stillwind? Let me ask the defense one question, Mr. Cuthbert. If your client didn't kill Flintheart and McCoy, then who did? Probably the coach driver, right? How should I know? If I'm not mistaken, it's the commander's job to figure that out. Oh, I'm well aware of the commander's incompetence, but one fact still stands. There are magical traces on the wound and the sword. Would you like me to tell you how many mages live in that small town? I didn't like where she was going with this. Only one. The defendant is the only registered mage who lives in Cornhaven. You're right, Cornhaven was a village of farmers. Celeste was the only mage there. The defendant was also established to have been with the victim minutes before his time of death. In addition to that, I have several witnesses who heard them arguing. You, on the other hand, can only implicate an unknown assailant. I doubt you can even tell me who they are. Even so, it's clear that the prosecution can't reliably prove how the victim was murdered. I can't say that the prosecution's evidence is irrefutable, but the evidence still leans heavily against the defense. There are far too many unanswered questions for me to pass a verdict. We will give the Inquisition time to investigate the crime scene and clear these unknowns. Are we going to get an investigation section? I suggest they conduct their investigation more thoroughly this time. We will resume the trial tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Oh, okay. Since this was case 1, I just assumed this was all going to be resolved in one day, but... Hello, Cuthbert. Oh, Miss Demora. I tensed as she approached me. I'd been so focused on Celeste's case, I hadn't even thought about how I left things with my mentor. That was a really short trial day also, only 2 testimonies. Scaled Lord. Should have probably been in the gallery too. You must have seen how I froze up during the first cross-examination. Your job is to put your client at ease, not the other way around. Sorry. I'm sure she was just snapping you out of it, but everyone saw her become violent with you. That's not exactly helpful if you want to prove she's not a violent murderer. Make no mistake, the prosecution will use that to their advantage. What's wrong with you? He did fine. If the Inquisition didn't botch the investigation, Cuthbert would have never been able to buy this much time. In case you've forgotten, he's my defense attorney, not you. I don't get why he has to take notes from you. Well, she's right, Celeste. I need to do better. I can't ever let myself freeze up like that again. I will not be so lucky next time. Other than that, I'll admit you did well. You cross-examined the commander adequately, and you handled Stillwind's rebuttal as well as you could have. I remembered how Prosecutor Stillwind was glaring at me at the start of the trial. Even thinking about it was enough to make me nauseous. Stillwind, why did that name sound so familiar? Probably related to Case 5. Wait, isn't House Stillwind one of the 4 Pillar families? That's right, Lucio Stillwind is Grand General of Warven Guard's military. Oh right, I forgot. Hasn't he been caught up in a lot of scandals recently? Scandals? He's been having people killed by the thousands. The thousands? Right, I remember seeing several articles about him in the Ratholm Gazette. In recent years, groups voicing their grievances against the crown have begun to surface in the countryside. King Oliver would answer their complaints by unleashing Stillwind's soldiers on these so-called insurrectionists. More often than not, their peaceful protests turned violent, leading to bloody retaliations from Lucio's forces. And Arya is Lucio Stillwind's only heir. When I saw her name on the docket, I wrote her off as a noble role-playing for fun. But she's good, better than most of the prosecutors I've faced. She's taking this seriously, and with what Flintheart was doing, I can't help but wonder if the prosecutor is acting on her father's behalf. I love this sprite. Do you think Prosecutor Stillwind is protecting the real killer? The Inquisition Knights were the first responders to the scene. Did that strike you as odd? I don't know, I'm not really familiar with this world. Right, in a small town like Cornhaven, the village militia would be the first people there. Sure. For the Inquisition to respond so quickly, they would have needed to know the magic was used at all. This whole mess feels a little too staged, and with a Stillwind involved, this whole situation reeks of corruption. I'm sure locking up Flintheart's daughter would send a clear message to his allies. But if that were true, why did she help us in the dungeons? Either way, this works out in her favor. I can't fight the Stillwind on the battlefield, but I can fight them in the courtroom. I'm guessing she's gonna be like Zeke, you know, like her family's done some bad stuff, but she wants to find the truth no matter what, or whatever. On that subject, I've been meaning to give you this. My spell compendium? I grabbed it from the dining room before the Inquisition arrived. That's illegal. They have a bad habit of misplacing pieces of evidence like this. Celeste McCoy's spell compendium. It contains a formula for only one spell, Mage Blade. Okay, is this like how official is this? Like, could you lie about this, or is this like ordained to your soul or whatever? Like, could this just be wrong? So this is your spell compendium, and it only has one spell, Mage Blade. The prosecution will need to prove that Mage Blade was used in the murder. I will restrict their plan of attack, which will give you an edge over them. I still have no idea who actually did this. Silas, I need to talk to you about what your father was doing. Oh. She glanced at the bailiff. He was looming close, staring daggers at her. I should go. It looks like they can't wait to throw me back into that cell. Wait, She turned away and quickly walked off without another word. Miss Tamara just shook her head. She's practically begging for a conviction at this rate. Bringing up her late father may have struck a nerve. I will need to be more delicate next time. I can speak with her in the dungeons later. Right now, I want to take a look at the crime scene. With how negligent the Inquisition were, I thought they found everything. If you're planning to investigate the crime scene, you'll need this. She reached into her coat and pulled out a small blue runestone. I froze for a moment, staring wide-eyed at it. Is that Attorney's runestone? Oh, is that like the Attorney's badge? It allows you to take pictures of crime scenes and write notes telepathically. Oh, Jesus, okay. Every attorney has one. It's almost like a badge for them. Almost like a badge. Okay, the references are a little much, I'll say. It's a little on the nose. It's an Attorney's runestone. I had a commission for you after you passed the exam last month. You've had one ready this entire time? Cuthbert, are you crying? No. I wiped my eyes and delicately stored the runestone in the pocket of my jacket. You embarrassed them today. Don't expect them to be that sloppy again. As much as I hate to admit it, your investigative mind is sharper than mine. Because we could tell that the sword was stabbed in the front instead of the back. If anyone can get through this, it's you. Isn't that the first thing I said when they brought up that he was stabbed in the back? Oh, thank you. She turned to take a seat at the bench near the courtroom entrance. It looked like she would be staying here until the case was over. I touched the spell compendium into my jacket. I hadn't slept, and my body still ached from the carriage ride. Is this the same day? I still didn't know whether I was truly up to this, but none of that mattered. Silas was counting on me, and I wouldn't let anyone get away with killing Flintheart, even if the still one were involved. Okay, you've known him for half a day. Sure, I'll save. The Inquisition set up a teleportation circle at the crime scene. Oh, okay. As a defense attorney for this case, I was permitted to use it. Teleportation circle. Wait, I could instantly travel back and forth between the McCoy Tavern and the capital. It was miles better than having to travel by carriage. Okay, if you can teleport... I'm sorry. Sorry to harp on this. If you can teleport, does the argument the prosecution made not make any sense? Because her argument was Celeste is the only mage in the entire city, so she's the only one that could have done it. But mages can teleport, apparently, so it doesn't matter. I guess you mentioned a teleportation circle, so maybe it needs like a lot of setup to be able to do it. I don't know. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Commander White stepped in my way as I approached the tavern entrance. This time, I took on my attorney's runestone and presented it to him, of course. I'm the defense attorney in this case. I have every right to look at the crime scene. Whatever, just remember, I've got my eye on you. You can take that rocket on my face now. Sorry. Moving, talking, examining, yep. What's up? Questions? Commander White, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions. You seriously think I'm going to help you? I know who your boss is, and I know what you're up to. She probably sent you here to con me. I just need information about the crime scene, as is my right. Wait, she probably sent you here to con me? Why would you think that? Is she a con artist? Yeah, sure you do. At first, I thought that he was just another corrupt knight, but this felt oddly personal. I wondered if this could all just be a misunderstanding. I might be able to persuade him to cooperate with me. Persuade them to cooperate with the investigation. Psychological profiles help you in those ensuing arguments. They give you information about your opponent and help you understand which options to pick. You can fill a person's psychological profile by talking to them or presenting them certain items. Okay. So I need to fill up this bar to be able to persuade him. Okay. Let's examine and maybe I can find some stuff to show him. Okay. What is that? It's a painting of a mage. There's some text on it. Samala Daglian, a legendary practitioner of the arcane arts, he mysteriously disappeared one day. It's rumored that he was developing a formula for a new transmutation spell. Daglian was reckless in casting the spell, however, and he quickly lost control of it. His body was never found. Many speculate that he didn't die during the accident, but if that were true, where did the spell take him? To the future? Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic. That might have explained where Flintheart kept it in his tavern. That was probably what the argument was about with his daughter, right? Because she wanted to, like, learn more spells or whatever, and he didn't like mages, so he didn't want her to do that. There was a lamp mounted on the wall. It seemed to be built into the tavern. Is this an artificery machine? I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this. Bah, artificery is just magic with a different name. Actually, these machines draw aether from surrounding ley lines too. I didn't ask for a science lesson. Anyways, look where the artificery got these folks. Artificery? Is that how you say that? Their energy cell broke and they haven't had any power for weeks. This goes to show that nothing can beat good old oil and flame. Arcane power cell has been broken for weeks and the lamp's gonna be turned on. It seems like the light is gonna be important in this case, because in the intro before we even started the game, the witness was saying something about a blue light, and then in this trial, I think the prosecution said something about the spell emitting a green light, right? And now we're saying that there was no light. So I think the color of the light is going to be important or something. Something along those lines. Okay, I see. It's white when you've already investigated it, so you don't need to check it again. We'll check the body last. It's a photo of someone. There's some text on it. Adam Evley, politician of the Pedantic. I've heard of this guy. Some kind of politician from one of the nations south of here. I heard he's pretty much a shoo-in to win whatever election they have going on there. An election? Flintheart been studying alternate forms of government for his little revolution? So there are other kingdoms, or nations, or whatever. I wonder if the split takes place on Earth, or if, like, the continents are different. Can I not investigate? Okay. There were candles on each of the tables in the dining area, but there were also lamps mounted on the walls. On close inspection, they appeared to be artificery, machines that could reproduce the effects of magic. The candles? Why wasn't the Inquisition using those instead? Okay. So the candles are magic? Okay. Shards of a broken bottle were next to this chalk outline. The shard has a label on it. It says Lotus Juice. I've never heard of that brand before. It's like a sharded bottle of Lotus Juice. You find next to Flintheart McCoy's body. The label says the word Lotus Juice. Okay. There's a chalk outline on the ground of the tavern, creating a rough silhouette of Flintheart's body. The chalk lines match the crime scene photo in my runestone. I noticed the traces of transmutation magic on the ground in the photo. I traced my finger over the areas where they had been detected. The texture was rougher and almost sticky. Did someone use transmutation magic to alter the floor? Wait, what? What are you? I still don't understand how you're seeing these traces of transmutation magic. Like, am I stupid? Like, obviously some of this is transparent. But is it that what's transparent has traces of magic on it? This wasn't clear to me at all. Was that it? Is there anything else? I think that's it. Let me show you some things. What do you think about this? I don't know what you're expecting me to say. You best try something else. Okay. I just present everything. Kid, you already showed this thing to me. Yeah, it's an attorney's runestone. I know. He looks like a little kid, showing his mom a drawing. Clear my throat as I stowed the runestone back in my jacket. Okay, is every character gonna have a reaction to me showing them this? Because it's like showing them the badge in Ace Attorney, which is like a common meme. Broken power cell. Doesn't care. Spells. Mage Blade. Oh. Incantation Archon. Gesture none. Duration while concentrating. Concentration yes. Is this a fucking D&D spell? Okay. Oh, I meant to press that. I never knew you were Timur's kid. I always figured you were an intern or something. She doesn't really talk about it that much. Wait, we're her kid? I've only ever seen her in court. It's hard to picture a woman like that raising a kid. There isn't much to picture. She raised me the same way she built the case. Sternly, stoically, and always in control. Was that mentioned at the beginning? I think that may have been mentioned at the beginning and I forgot. This is what happens when I don't take notes. I have to ask, did something happen between you and Mr. Moore? Ha, Mr. Moore, you're really horror lackey, true and true. She's my legal guardian. I owe a lot to her. Well, that's who you were this whole time. I didn't even know she had a kid. We just talked about this. Look, I don't know what she's told you, but she ain't the hero you think she is. This is about the rumors, isn't it? They're just lies spread by the nobility that discredit her. They ain't lies, kid. I've seen it for myself. That woman's a criminal. My hand clenched to a fist before I calmed myself down. This wasn't the time for emotions. She defends mages who don't have the protection of the nobility. She hates the aristocracy just as much as you do. Yeah, whatever. Oh, there we go. So I need 2 more. What do you think about this? I don't care. I never expected the mercenary to look like that, but after seeing how many men it took to arrest her, I can kind of see it. What the hell, they're feeding that girl? Bear meat. Bear meat? Yeah, from what I've seen. Huh, I guess that makes sense. You are what you eat. I heard that this was Prosecutor Stillwind's first trial. She must be pretty talented if that's true. A pain in the ass is what she is. The damn noble comes in here telling me I have to do my job. Lord knows what she's even doing here. You think she's here on behalf of her father? Is this her first case? Sigh, I honestly don't know. My men are on edge because of that. You know, we're deployed to one of those regions, the one where her old man was squashing those rebellions. They said we needed to investigate the terrorists there, but by the time we got there, they just had us clean up the bodies. Scaled Lord. It doesn't matter if it's women or children, Lucius Stillwind will kill them all the same. A bunch of my men quit after that. They couldn't stomach working for a monster like that. What about you? We all gotta get paid somehow. He's basically a duke. Okay. Oh, okay. The Inquisition. So what does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly? You're trying to pick a fight with me? No, I'm genuinely curious. Well, we're called in whenever they find traces of magic at the crime scene. Do crimes like this happen often? Nah, maybe once in a blue moon. It made sense. Most mages were in the nobility after all. The ones who made a habit of falling into scandals didn't last very long. You must have an easy job then. You got that right. It's the only reason we exist, to clean up the nobility's messes. He didn't seem very happy about that. Mages. You seem to speak negatively about magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages? It ain't a grudge, it's just common sense. All it takes is one spell. Some rich kid just needs to wave their hand and mutter some magical nonsense. Then the next thing you know, someone's dead on the ground. Not to mention, if some bonehead really overuses their magic, they end up snapping and going on a rampage. Are you talking about mage blight? Yeah, it's what happens when a mage gets too arrogant, and nobles have that in spades. What's mage blight? I don't know if this is going too far, but why would you join the Inquisition if you hate mages so much? Considering the fact that my job is to sweep the nobility's crimes under the rug. I didn't mean to insinuate. No, but you have the right of it. Anytime a noble screws up, I'm told to look the other way. But every once in a while, I'm allowed to put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after the nobles, but any other mage is fair game. Or at least they were before your boss showed up. My boss? Did he have something against what Mr. Moore was doing? Ruby tomorrow. I have to ask, did something happen between you and Mr. Moore? Ha, Mr. Moore, you really hard lack. Okay, this is the same dialogue? Okay, so I guess I got the same dialogue from presenting her and talking about this. Okay. Argument. Commander Wood was being hostile towards me. At first, I thought he was just being corrupt or apathetic, but he seemed to have a personal grudge against Mr. Moore and me. If I could clear up this misunderstanding, he might help me. Sure. Argument. Do you have an issue with me, Commander White? Don't give me that crap. I've seen who you work for. You think I don't know what you're doing? Ruby Tamar is a crooked lawyer. I'll be dead in the ground before I help you. Can I read this? Commander White is stubborn and stuck in his ways. He seems to have a grudge against Ruby Tamar and will react negatively if you try to defend her. However, he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. Crooked lawyer. It's either this or this. Deflect. Regardless of what Miss Tamar has done, I'm the one heading the case. Our client deserves a fair trial with fair representation. All I'm trying to do is give that to her. It could be either of these. They kind of feel the same. I guess I'll go with this. Doesn't matter how you feel about Mr. Moore or me. My client deserves a fair trial with fair representation. All I'm trying to do is give that to her, and I can't do that if you withhold information from me. Okay. I've seen how she defends her clients. Forgery, bribery, blackmail. She'll do whatever it takes to win. You're just another crook. It doesn't matter what you say. I know you're just like her. You being her successor has nothing to do with it. You know that helping me is the right thing to do. I'm not Ruby Tamar. What you think of her isn't relevant here. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm trying to run an honest case. Forgery, bribery, blackmail. Have you seen me doing any of those things? I've only defended my client by pointing out your mistakes. Probably this. I'm not Ruby Tamar. What you think of her isn't relevant here. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm trying to run an honest case. I'm so good at this. Look, kid, after what I've seen her put in court, I'm not going to fall for it. I have no reason to trust you. And by what, I know you're a crooked lawyer raised by the biggest crook of them all. And no proof that she's a crook. Okay, you won't like that. I'm sure the defense attorney was asking you for information about the case. Nothing I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. But the only thing that she taught me was how to practice law. Have you ever seen me engaged in any crooked behavior? Again, I feel like it could be either of these. This? I'm just the defense attorney who was asking for information about the case. Nothing that I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. He spent some time searching for a rebuttal, but after a while he just let out a resigned sigh. You just want info on a case, right? Yes, that's all I'm asking for. Alright, fine, I'll answer your questions. But you better not make me regret this. Argument 1. I successfully persuaded Orm White. Cool. Murder weapon. I'm not entirely sure that the sword was a real murder weapon. Right, I guess you want to prove that someone else stuck the sword in the body. Did the Inquisition find anything suspicious on the scene? If you're asking me if we found another bloody weapon lying around, we didn't. That would have been a little too convenient, wouldn't it? If there was another murder weapon, the killer probably walked out with it. Do you think they could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern? Doubt it. After the trial, still want to turn the place upside down as candidate for magic. If there was something hidden here, we would have found it already. Okay. I can't believe you overlooked something so obvious. Yeah, same. Oh, shut up with that. I already got an earful about that mess from Stillwind. Well, you don't have to worry about me screwing things up. Stillwind's taking over the entire investigation. Do prosecutors normally do that? Nope, but she ain't no prosecutor. She's a Stillwind. I know better than to go against orders from her sort. Sigh. I know we made a mistake, but she's taking this too far. She even had my men draft a map of the crime scene. Really? Can I see it? Knock yourself out. I have a bunch of copies. Don't know how much good it'll do you though. Please show me. Geometrically scaled map of the crime scene. I found everything I could in the dining area, but what did it all mean? No other murder weapon was found. There wasn't any evidence of another person at the crime scene either. Okay, hang on. Where was the body? Like here? It's weird that it doesn't show the body in this. Okay, and you're saying that this is 5 by 5 feet, which is exactly the dimension of the spell that we saw, which is interesting. And this really is like a D&D map. Okay. Yeah, it's weird that the body is near. But... I only knew about the anonymous witness who discovered the body. Hey, you okay, kid? Once again, I let everything else disappear from the world. Listening? There's no clear evidence pointing to another killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to whether or not Flintheart moved when he was attacked. What? How did Flintheart move before he died? There's no blood trail leading to or from the body. That fact implies something about the location of Flintheart's death. Oh, okay. During the investigation, you'll sometimes go over all you learn to formulate deductions. You'll think through the case and raise statements that must be answered. Use the OS to construct a sentence in response to the statement. While more than one response may technically be true, only one response will be meaningful. Okay.
Maybe.
Did not.
What if?
How did Flintheart move before he died? Flintheart. I'm not sure what it wants me to do here. Hang on, let me think.
What if?
What if? Flintheart did not die during the attack? Is that what we're saying? No, I didn't see a blood trail leading from Flintheart's body. That told me something important. Namely, where Flintheart was throughout the murder. Okay, that was wrong. He did not move during the attack? Flintheart died away when he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all. He might have even died instantaneously. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. There's also the autopsy report, which says that he died from a stab from behind. He must have been facing away from his attacker. He's probably caught off guard, and he would have been in shock and too incapacitated. Is that right? To move. Also doesn't look like his body was dragged anywhere either. It was definitely attacked right where the chalk outline is. Okay. Flintheart died at the location of the V marker. This is also the location of where the murder must have occurred. Okay. Sure. I'm curious. So it says usually a blade, but it doesn't have to be a blade, right? What do you mean by an edge? Like, if I cast the spell on a ball, like a rubber ball, would the ball become sharp, or? Because I guess I'm just thinking, like, could this spell be cast on the victim's clothes and the clothes would, like, cut them up? Or could it be cast on the bottle he was holding? And would the bottle cut up, like, his hands or something? I don't know. There's also the shattered bottle of lotus juice. How did the bottle shatter? He dropped it? The fragments are right next to the body. The bottle must have only been shattered hours ago. Flameheart dropped the bottle during the attack. Flameheart dropped the bottle exactly when he was attacked, which implies that he was holding it when the attack occurred. Yeah. What's so strange about that? These details may seem insignificant, but together they'll give me a better idea of what the board looked like. The board? There's also the fact that the lights were out. Were these candles here when you arrived at the crime scene, Orm? No, we had to light some so we could see the crime scene properly. Okay, so these weren't here. What was the scene of the crime scene? It should have been dark. We thought it was weird too. The girl and her father must have had their arguments in the dark, so they didn't light any candles to make up for the broken lights.
What if?
The crime scene... The crime scene wasn't lit. By the lamps. If there's any lighting during that minigame is actually kind of hard. If there's any, because there's a lot of options. If there was any lighting during the attack, it could have been produced by the murderer. I could totally see the position of the pieces, but there were still areas I was unsure of. Broken power cell. Lamps can be turned on. Yeah. They might have used a torch or a lantern of some kind. Just ask her. Additionally, the argument that Celeste had with Flintheart must have been sparked by something. Things seemed fine between them before I went to bed. Was she casting, like, a light spell or something? It was spontaneous. They weren't planning to have a conversation in this room. In this darkness, Flintheart wouldn't have a lot of visibility. He probably never saw the attack coming. He would have been surprised and in too much shock to run away. Kid? The bottle may seem insignificant, but he was holding it when he was attacked. Was he pouring a drink for himself or a visitor? Kid! I was in a frenzy, but the commander snapped me back to reality. What was that all about? Sorry, I just get lost in my head sometimes. Yeah, well, cut it out. You're mumbling like a crazy person. Right, sorry. In fact, I found everything I could here. It was time to move somewhere else. Don't I have something else to say to you? Yeah, Arya Stillwind. I heard that this was Prosecutor Stillwind's first trial. Okay, it is. She must be pretty talented if that's true. A pain in my ass what she is. Okay, yeah, we've already seen this. Wait, did it say that it was her first trial last time? Because I definitely asked whether this was her first trial or not. Did I just completely skip over that line in my head? Okay. I'm stupid. Okay, let's move. Courthouse? We can go to the courthouse? Why? Dungeon. Tower. Okay, let's go upstairs. As I made more up the stairs, I overheard Stillwind arguing with someone. As if you keep showing your face here, people will start asking questions. I have the investigation under control now. All you have to do is stay quiet until this is over. Is it her dad? Oh no, it's this guy. Hello, killer. You may be a Stillwind, but this is my land. I will do as I see fit. As I turned down the hallway, I bumped into what appeared to be a nobleman. With a quick motion, he drew a handkerchief to clean the parts of his clothes that had brushed against me. His cold gaze hardened into a contemptuous glare. He gave me the same look he'd probably give to a rotting pile of excrement on the Cornhaven streets. Oh, sorry. Watch where you're going, you weed. Weed? Ah, you're the defense attorney from a trial, aren't you? And you are? I'm Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land. The leader of House Pierce. He's the ruling noble of Cornhaven in the village nearby. He appears to be involved in Prosecutor Stillwind's case against Celeste, but to what extent? I suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial, if only you weren't such a stubborn nuisance. I suppose you also believe my client is guilty? I never said that, but I'm not wrong, am I? It matters not what I believe. This entire scandal has done nothing but rile up the public. Magic is a gift for the nobility, and the nobility alone. It is a symbol of a cosmic right to rule. This world is imperfect. Bastards like that girl should know their place. This is what happened when the gift of magic is used by those of impure blood. She's just an innocent woman who got wrapped up in all this. I must commend you. You almost had me fooled. Excuse me? Wait, do you actually believe her little story? How good is a defense attorney if they don't believe in their clients? Scaled lord, and here I took you for another envious commoner. Would you actually believe that trite? Are you sure you're tomorrow's brat? I knew I had to pick my battles, but I really weighed the legal consequences of punching him square in the face. Let me tell you something, boy. Even if the bastard is innocent, the charges have been laid and made public. Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption. If the king believes there's any unrest here, even for a moment, he will unleash Lucio Stillwind and his soldiers upon this region. I'm sure you're well aware of what tends to follow after. That doesn't mean my client should be convicted of a crime she didn't commit. What is one insignificant girl when compared to the stability and well-being of the people in this land? You're far too short-sighted. Okay, this guy is way too evil. That's enough. Stop antagonizing him, Pierce. He glanced at the prosecutor for a moment and then back at me. For a moment, I caught a flicker of fear in his eyes. I suppose that even House Pierce had reason to fear the Steelwinds. Without another word, he walked down the stairs. I don't agree with him. What? Our system should exist to deliver truth and justice, not quell public opinion. Ah, she's nice! If you really believe that, you wouldn't be working against my client. Do you honestly think she's the kind of monster who would murder her own father? I'm not so superficial that I judge someone based on their appearance. The only thing I trust is evidence, and all of it points to her as the only possible killer. Is that really what you believe? Or are you just hiding the fact that you're here on your father's behalf? She's got the same angry sprite as Celeste, like the exact same face. I'm working against him just as much as you are. I'm not working with my father. What, she's working against her father? Is this common, what you have? Like your little, like, Eye of a Horus thing that lets you read people's mind? Because people are, like, definitely not, like, working against that. Like, if I knew that there was a device out there that people could use it to read my mind, I would be a little careful what I think about while talking to people. Especially people I don't know. Especially my rival lawyer in an important murder case. My apologies, I don't know what came over me. It's fine. So for that reason, I assume that this is like some rare artifact. I respect you, Mr. Cuthbert. You should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine. I tried to think of a retort, but it said nothing as she walked past me. Alright. There were some candles lighting up the hallway. It looked like they were part of the old architecture. Several doors led to the guest rooms. Aside from the rooms that Mr. Moore and I used, they didn't look like they'd been open for quite some time. Oh, same thing. There was a door at the end of the hallway. I saw lights from under the door. Someone was inside. I tried to open the door, but it seemed to be locked. I knocked on the door, but received no answer in return. Suspicious. Okay, that's it. If we go here, we can talk to Celeste. Let's go to the lobby. Is there anything in the lobby? I assume no. Oh, you. Oh, Cuthbert, you're back? Sorry, I guess I'm just a little lost about where to go. Well, I guess I can give you some guidance. During an investigation, you can talk to your mentor to get clear on where to go. Feel free to do this if you ever feel lost or stuck. In future cases, you may receive assistance from a certain mercenary. Spoilers! Now I know that she's innocent. What if she was the killer? That would be a crazy twist for case 1. Actually, that would be a really good twist. This is my advice if someone watching this is making an Ace Attorney game. Do this exact setup where, like, in case 1 you meet a character who's just like Maya and you defend her in case 1, but then you realize slowly that she's actually the killer. What a twist. Okay, I don't need to talk to you. Let's go to the dungeon. I arrived back at the dungeon. Celeste was huddled down in the corner of her cell. She noticed me, and the weight from her shoulders seemed to lift, if only for a moment. Hi. She had avoided me before, but I thought she had seen mainly friendly faces since the trial. Hi, I can't stay for long. I just need to ask you some questions about the case. Right. I got some things to show you first. Oh, what's that? It's an attorney's runestone. It proves that I'm a certified attorney. It's filled with artificery. I can use it to take pictures of evidence and crime scenes. You seem really excited about it. I just wanted one since I was a child. I can't believe I finally have one. That's nice. I'm happy for you. I was trying to be positive, but there were clearly more important things on her mind. I shredded my tie and stowed the runestone back in my jacket. Trial. I'm really sorry for what happened today. Well, it all ended up okay in the end, right? I was unusually forgiving. If she hadn't calmed down, the trial may have ended very differently. If she hadn't calmed me down. I still don't understand though. Why were there so many traces of magic at the crime scene? Did you cast Mage Blade on your sword that day? I used it when I was training last week. Is that where those traces came from? Did you not kill the bear? Or was that a different day? I guess I just assumed that the bear kill was the same day. But it could have been like earlier in the week or something. No, magical traces only last for 48 hours. After that, they disappear completely. Not to mention that spells only leave traces of magic on the objects that they are cast on. Even if the sword made physical contact with the body, the traces shouldn't have spread through the wound. Really? What does that mean then? I don't know. The floor next to the body has a strange texture to it too. If the killer used a transmutation spell, it may have changed your sword and the surrounding floor. Okay. It's hard to make theories when I don't know what spells are even possible. But it seemed like the floor was turned into something. Did you leave your sword at the tavern? Doesn't make any sense though. I know my theory sounds far-fetched, but the traces were only on parts of the sword. How can you tell that? I don't get it. This is so annoying. Where are these traces that I don't see? If the traces are supposed to be like whatever is transparent it has magical traces, then the entire sword is transparent. It's not like only parts of it. And if it's not that, then what is supposed to show me where the traces are, and why is some of this thing transparent? Like, this is really annoying me. I know my theory sounds far-fetched, but the traces were only on parts of the sword. That must mean that the outer layer of the sword must have broken off during the murder. What are you talking about? But my sword can't be damaged like that, even when transmutation magic is used on it. That's the whole reason why I have it. How can you be so sure? Back when I was traveling, I'd always break my weapons by swinging them too hard. They'd end up breaking in 2 or 3 swings, maybe 4 if it was well made. How much force was you swinging these weapons with? That sword was a gift from one of my clients. He said it was specially carved from the bones of a purple worm. Transmutation spells can't damage them. I've had it for years and it doesn't have a single chip on it. I don't even need to sharpen it. Where did you get this sword again? The Eastern Kingdoms. Isn't it travel outside of Warvengard illegal? Is it? Mercenaries don't have a lot of more legitimate options for working in Warvengard. I did what I had to. I doubt I'd be able to contact the sword's maker in time, if at all. I would just have to take her word for it. But if what you were saying was true, why wasn't a trace of transmutation magic covering the entire sword? I'm so confused. This is really a sticking point for me. I feel like I'm missing something that's supposed to be obvious, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Could you tell me more about your father? I'm sorry, I know this must be difficult for you. I remember how you two were yesterday. Is this really going to help? Knowing more about him could help me figure out who actually did this. Sigh, okay. I was adopted by the McCoys when I was a baby, but they always treated me like I was part of their family. The townsfolk would always shoo me away. They didn't want anything to do with a noble bastard. My dad got into a bunch of fights with them over that. But I had to go and ruin everything. He was a voice of dissidence, wasn't he? Did you share his views? I knew he hated the nobility, but I didn't know about his rallies until just recently. If I knew how much danger his life was in, I have never left Warvengard. I think he knew that. If I'd been there last night, he'd still be... It's not your fault. No one could have expected that. I felt sorry for her, but I really need to know more. I could hear your argument from my room last night. Your neighbors must have overheard that too. Did any of them come by to check up on you two? They might have seen the person who did this. I doubt it. Even if they did see something, they wouldn't testify for someone like me. Why? I thought your father was a key figure among the dissidents. Yeah, but all of his supporters came from the neighboring towns. Everyone inside the village hates her family. People could tell I was adopted. It's not as if I look like either of my parents. Yeah. Rumors spread about how some noble lord must have had a tryst with my mom. They were wrong, obviously, but it's hard to stop a rumor like that when it spreads. It's terrible. It's fine. I stopped caring about it years ago. Things were manageable before, but things got worse when my dad started speaking out against the nobility. He wasn't just a pariah at that point. He was drawing a lot of attention to Cornhaven. Everyone hears his rumors about what the Grand General was doing in villages like ours. The neighbors tried to threaten my dad to stop, and when that didn't work, they started vandalizing our tavern. They'd even steal my parents' supplies. I had to come back to Warvengard because some of the other villagers broke into the tavern. They were cowards. They thought they could scare your dad into stopping. They were scared. My dad was painting a giant target in this region. Okay, but they're not wrong. It's hard for me to feel angry at them when your dad doing this shit could get their entire village slaughtered. Like, them and then the entire family could be, like, killed overnight because of what your dad is doing, so... It's not as if the kingdom would care if a village like ours were destroyed. She wasn't wrong. Stories of Lucio's Tillman were circulating in the papers for months. Even with that, he still stood at the top of this kingdom. There were no real consequences. Could you tell me why Flintheart was so angry at you? For as long as I can remember, my dad has hated magic. If you even mentioned it around him, he'd fly into a rage about it. And you were born a mage. Ever since your tavern closed, my family's been in a lot of debt. Fighting always came naturally to me, so I became a mercenary and learned how to use magic to help me fight. Most of Warvengard's mages are in the nobility. People will pay a lot for a soldier who can use arcane magic. So that's why she was a mercenary. Yeah. Last time, my dad found my spell compendium. When I saw him holding it, I finally came clean to him, and that set him off. He didn't know? Why did he think you were leaving the town and going to another continent? He shot at me. He told me that I betrayed him and everything he stood for. I can't imagine how they must have felt. I deserved it. I know how much he hated magic. He was fighting for what he believed in, and I wasn't even there to protect him. Don't say that. You couldn't have known what would have happened. I'm sure he still loved you. He just lost his temper. No, I could see it in his eyes. He hated me, and he died hating me. I felt a sharp pain in my chest as I read that, but I didn't say anything more. There's a locked room in the tavern. It's at the very end of the hallway upstairs. The Inquisition probably searched it already, but it's the only room I haven't seen yet. At the end of the hallway, I think that's my room. Do you know how I could get in there? I'm your lore. I'm not going to do anything strange. Sorry, you're right. I always keep the key on me. You can use this to get inside. They didn't take this from you when you got arrested? So how did they enter? If you still have the key. They get this Liz McCoy's bedroom in the McCoy Tavern. Alright. There's a door at the end of the hallway. I saw light from under the door. Someone was inside. Can I not open it? Or can I just go directly? Oh yeah, I can just go. I slipped the key into the lock and turned it, allowing the door to creak open. I heard the fumbling of objects on the other side. Someone else was there. Oh. Jolene McCoy. Excuse me? I've already told you knights everything that I know. What more do you... Oh, it's you! Something about the way that woman carried herself reminded me of Celeste. I knew she was adopted, but she clearly took after her mother. I didn't know you were alive. I recognized the same bubbly warmth in that woman's posture, tempered with a subtle hint of maturity. Sorry if I'm intruding. What are you doing in Celeste's room? I'm so sorry. I'm Jolene. I'm Celeste's mother. Celeste's mother. I can't imagine what she's going through. She not only has to grieve her husband's death, but also deal with her daughter's arrest for his murder. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for her. I really appreciate you sticking by her after she hit you like that. It's fine, really. I kind of deserved it for freezing up like that. Anyway, Jolene was Flintheart's wife. I mean, she knew him better than anyone else, even Celeste. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? Of course, I'll do anything to help. Except Celeste a lot, but can I really trust him? The eye revealed a hint of fear and distrust from her. Can you tell me more about your husband? Why did he hate magic so much? I understand magic is a symbol of the nobility, but things sounded different with him. It's as if he thought Celeste had betrayed him somehow. I wasn't there when they were arguing. Where were you? But I can only imagine what he said to her. He's never had anything good to say about mages, and I could see how much his words indirectly hurt her. Did something happen? I don't really know. I don't trust him enough. I shouldn't talk about Effie. Effie? Who is Effie? Does Fnatic Resentment have something to do with Effie? Okay, you're kind of revealing your your game here by saying this. How do you know about her? There shouldn't be any records of what happened. I have my ways of finding out. Of course, you work for Ruby tomorrow. What did she do? Did she strong-arm one of the neighbors into talking? Ordinary people like her going around Cornyhaven and opening up old wounds. What? I'd always idolized her, but I could never stand her methods. Is this about the rumors? Rumors? When my mentor started fighting against the justice system, the nobility started levying accusations of misconduct against her. They spread rumors that she engaged in bribery, forgery, and blackmail, all to discredit her. Is that really true? She personally taught me how to defend persecuted mages like your daughter. We've seen how I defended Celeste. I'm doing everything honestly and legally. Miss McCoy, I know you don't know who to trust right now, but I need to know more about Flintheart. Right now, I don't have any leads as to who might have done this. Okay, but promise you you won't mention any of this in court. I definitely will. I don't want Celeste being dragged into another scandal, and I sure as I don't want any more steel ones showing up in town. I can't make any promises, but my priority will always be to keep your daughter safe. I guess that's as much as I can ask for. Effie was Flintheart's younger sister. Okay? Celeste doesn't know about her. She died 20 years ago, and Flintheart never brought her up. What happened? She was friends with the son of the ruling noble back then, and he'd always sneak into town to see her. It was so different back then. Effie had always loved magic. It reminded her of the fairy tales she read growing up. He'd always show her his spells by the lake, all to make her smile. But he'd been warned not to use his spells without his instructor present. Did he accidentally kill her? One day, he lost control of one of his spells and wounded Effie. We rushed her back into town, but it was too late. By the time we could dress her wounds, she was already gone. Stories like that were awfully common among the nobility these days. I mean, yeah, imagine if you were a kid and you had access to like a gun, basically, because that's what magic is. It's like a gun, basically. You can think of it that way. The next day, the Arcane Inquisition came to investigate what happened. The boy's parents used their influence to cover everything up. They even threatened Flintheart's family into staying quiet. After that, they told the town that Effie had been mauled to death by a wolf. Flintheart's sister. If Flintheart caused the doing an accident, no one will cool about its magic. Okay. Flint all but declared war on the nobility after that. He turned the tavern into a meeting place for commoners who shared his resentment. Word spread, and night after night, more and more revolutionaries started showing up to his rallies. It wasn't long before they started planning a revolution. They started contacting like-minded groups in the towns nearby. They were even starting to arm themselves. I could only watch as everything unfolded. I'd heard stories about what the Stallions were doing to people like him. I begged him to stop, so did some of the other townfolk. We knew he was going to get all of us killed. I was shocked when Knight told me he'd been murdered, but I wasn't surprised. I really hoped he'd let go of his anger when Celeste showed up. It was really starting to change after we adopted her. When did you adopt her? Can you tell me more about Celeste? How did she become part of your family? It all happened 19 years ago, a year after Effie's death. We were closing one night when we found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. Oh, okay. We waited weeks for her parents to come by, but no one ever came looking for her. We named her Celeste after the full moon that was out that night. We'd always wanted a child, so I thought she must have been a gift from the Scaled Lord. Is the Scaled Lord good? Scaled Lord doesn't sound like a good person, but I guess if it's a gift from the Scaled Lord. But one day, I spotted Celeste practicing her magic. I think that's when I realized that a noble must have abandoned her at her inn. I didn't care though, I loved her all the same. Flintheart did too. Wait, you knew that she was a mage this entire time? I did. You haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Flintheart must have noticed it too, but I think that he didn't want to believe it. It's my fault. I should have forced him to see the truth. I spoke with Celeste earlier, and she believes her father died hating her. What? He loved her more than anything in the world. They must have been really close. More than anything. Do you want to hear a story? Celeste had just come from the Eastern Kingdom. She wouldn't stop talking about this foreign drink that she loved. Flintheart did everything he could to have it shipped here. He even called in a bunch of favors to do it. Was it sake? In the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it. Is it really that rare? It's a product of the Eastern Kingdoms, and it's hard to import anything from outside of Ravengard. I wouldn't be surprised if it were the only bottle of lotus juice in this region. Oh, lotus juice! Wait a minute. Lotus juice? Is the bottle that Flintheart bought? Oh no, he was going to surprise her with it. I wondered where that disappeared to. I found a shard on the floor of the dining area. Isn't that bad though? Because the fact that he was holding it kind of implies that Celeste was with him. That's strange. Celeste would always help herself to her pantry, so he was hiding it in her room. Where is your room? Really? When was the last time you saw it? It was right before I left the house that night. It would have been in his room before their argument. Okay. I'd investigated the tavern as much as I could, but there was still one last thing I needed to do. It was time to head back to the dungeons and talk to Celeste. Okay, thank you for the tutorial. Wait, one thing real quick. Oh, what's this? It's an attorney's runestone. It identifies me as a certified attorney. Wow, you must have worked very hard to get that. Yeah, it also has a magical tool that lets me take pictures of crime scenes. Are you trying to impress her? Wow, that's amazing. Something about her overly enthusiastic tone reminded me of my late mother. Okay, kind of ruining the vibe there. Oh, you're back. Did you forget something? There's one last thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about the argument you had with Flintheart. Oh. I knew what it was like to lose a parent. I'd never be able to carry that burden if I thought my mother had died hating me. What about your father? I know he was angry at you, but after everything I've heard about you two, I knew that he still loved you. Tyrion. Even in his final moments, I'm sure that he still cared for you. Shut up. You don't even know what you're talking about. It looked like it wouldn't be that simple, though. I would need to persuade her if I wanted her to believe me. Is this really important? That final argument with her father would be a lasting scar on Celeste. Throughout this entire investigation, I learned how much they cared for each other. I couldn't leave things as they were. Sure. Argument. I know you're just trying to make me feel better, but my dad has hated mages. I knew that better than anyone. There's always hidden magic. There's no reason behind that. This. Right? Or this. I guess this, because to counteract, like, there's no reason. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but there's a reason why your father hated magic. What? Decades ago, he had a sister. She was killed by a mage in a tragic accident. Didn't her mom just say to not tell this to anyone? That's why he resents magic so much. He ripped away someone that he loved dearly. I never knew that. That just proves it then, doesn't it? It was selfish of me to learn magic. I knew how he felt about it, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get away from my life here. He had every right to be angry at me. I was being selfish. Wait, what's the statement? It was selfish of me to learn magic. No, because he made money, right? Where was it? This. But you didn't learn magic just to benefit yourself, though. You used it to support your family. You gave them hope when in the bell they shut down their tavern. Didn't have a choice. You had a gift and you used it to your advantage. That's not selfish. Shut up. What? Just shut up, Tyrion. Why wouldn't you leave me alone? Celeste, you don't know anything. You weren't there. You didn't hear what he said to me. You didn't see the way he was looking at me. He was only thinking about how I betrayed him. I knew him. I knew him better than anyone. He loved me. He took care of me. And I threw it all away. I chose to become a mage. He would never forgive me for that. This? Take a look at this picture, Celeste. What's this? Broken glass? Wait, that's a bottle. It's a bottle of lotus juice. These shards were on the floor of the crime scene. What? That can't be true. They don't even sell it in Ravengard. Your father called in a bunch of favors to have it important for you. He did? He didn't hate you, Celeste. He imported your favorite drink just to make you happy. No, that still doesn't change anything. If he did that all for me, it was before he knew the truth. That's not true. Stop acting like you know anything about us. You only met us yesterday. How could you know how he felt about me? Because I can read his mind. Don't you think I want to believe you? I know the truth. He hated me. He hated me just like he hated every other mage. Celeste, your mother said the bottle was stowed in her room, but I found it shattered in the dining area near where the murder happened. He was holding it when he died. That means he retrieved it after your argument. So why would he have your gift if he was still angry at you? No, why would he have it? It's because he loved you, Celeste. He knew you'd lost his temper and hurt you. So he was going to use that gift to apologize to you. What? I still don't like this. My daughter, working as a missionary of all things. Come on, Dad, you know I can handle myself out there. You shouldn't have to. They closed the inn. If I didn't do this, we wouldn't have made it through the last few winters. I know you're worried, but I can do this. No one can ever beat me in a fight. Just be careful. I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to you. Don't worry. Just let me do this for you. You and Mom both took me in. You took care of me for my entire life. I know I'm not really your daughter, but why would you say something like that? I'm sorry. I didn't mean... Didn't those idiots in the town say that? Tell me who. I'll go knock them out right now. Dad, no one said that. It's just... You're McCoy. You've always been a McCoy. You're a daughter. I won't let anyone say otherwise. Especially you. Okay. Thanks, Dad. I love you. I love you too. How could I ever think that? She trailed off. She had barely been keeping it together throughout the whole argument. But her voice began to break, and she broke along with it. She paused for a moment, trembling. Then she slowly fell against me. Against you? Agents here on the other side of the bar? She gripped me tightly, everything from the last few days finally crashing down on her. I was sure I was the last person she wanted to comfort her, but I was the only one there. She'd held back her grief for this long. She was strong, much stronger than I had been. I hesitated, unsure of how to respond. I just held her as quiet sobs echoed softly throughout the cell. Celeste, I'm sorry, but please don't talk right now. I did as she asked. I wasn't sure if it was enough, but I held her tightly. That's nice. Are you feeling better? Yeah, thanks. She wiped her eyes. They were still red. But she smiled at me, and it wasn't forced this time. Do you need water? What? I figured you lost fluids. I thought you might be dehydrated. What was I saying? Celeste snorted out a laugh. I felt silly, but something about seeing her laugh left me flustered. Tyrion? Is everything really going to be okay? It will be. I'll get you that acquittal. So long as you breathe? Chuckle. Yes, so long as I breathe, I'll make sure you receive salvation. She giggled to herself. That's a very smug laugh. Anyway, you should rest. The trial's going to resume soon. I learned as much as I could about what happened, but I had to assume that Sylvan had done the same. Who knew what the prosecution had in store for us? I just had to hope that it stacked the board in my favor. I guess let's keep reading until we get to the trial. Has Spurs given you all the details, Rudolph? Will you remember them? Yes, my notes are pristine. I pride myself on my eidetic. I know this word, I just don't know how to pronounce it. Hang on. Eidetic. On my eidetic memory. Just so there's no misunderstandings, I do not approve of this. You said it yourself, Lady Stillwind. The evidence proves that I couldn't have murdered Flintheart, which leaves a bastard child as the only suspect. We don't know what sort of tricks tomorrow's stooge may pull tomorrow. Just see this as a way of securing a just verdict. There will be no need for your father to intervene. That's not good. Okay. Okay, let's stop here for now. I'm still liking this game, but I am still really annoyed at this thing with the image. I do not understand what I'm not seeing in this image. It shows the traces of transmutation magic that were on the sword. I do not see these traces of transmutation magic. If it's supposed to be what's transparent, then I don't understand what he means when he said that it was only on part of the sword. Yeah, I don't know. This whole image is very confusing to me. But yeah, other than that, this is pretty okay. I feel like this first case is going to be really simple. Like, we don't have a lot of very relevant evidence, but I'll see. The art is really nice. I like the art on this game. But yeah, gonna stop here for now. See you next time for probably the conclusion to case 1, if I had to guess. So yeah, see you for that.